Okay, I think we're live on Facebook now. And I wanna just say also a big thank you to Ihita. She's been such a great champion of internet governance, not just in India, but really across the ecosystem. And thank you for finding time to co-moderate this session. I know you're super busy and it's always very late for you, whichever session we start. So thank you.
No, thank you. Thanks a lot for the opportunity, Anya. I was actually very happy that you gave me the opportunity. So thank you.
They're really great to have you. With that, I'll leave now to Maciek and Ihita to co-moderate. I'll be a faithful listener in the next 30 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Anya. My name is Maciej. I'm one of the founders of IGF Poland, and I've been cooperating very closely with our national youth IGF as well. I work in the National Research Institute, NASC, as an attorney at law on a daily basis. Today, together with Ihita from India, youth IGF, I have the pleasure to moderate flash talks between Wikipedia and youth. The title is very clear, so right now I'm giving the floor to Ihita, and then she will pass the floor to our distinguished guest, Professor Dariusz Ziemielniak. And at the end we will have some time for the short discussion. Please don't hesitate to use the chat and the Q&A. Even if we don't answer all of the questions, they are all important for the future debate. And I wish I can say the floor is yours, but the screen is yours. Next year we'll share the screen. Please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Maciej. Hi, everybody. My name is Ihita, and it's an honor to be here to co-moderate the session today around data. I belong to India, and I'm representing the Youth Internet Governance Forum India, which is the NRI initiative of the UN IGF. And at Youth IGF India, we bring together the youth to discuss regulations and policies and technical developments that are happening in India and globally, and discuss that with the youth to understand how they would like all of this to be governed. So again, I'm very happy to be here and to take a conversation forward around data and data governance, data ethics, and a couple of other things that we have, we've been discussing about in the previous couple of days as well. We have Professor Dariusz, who will be talking about data, and he's from Wikipedia. So over to you, sir. Please take over.
All right. Thanks so much for having me. First of all, I have to say I have two hats. I am a scholar. I work in academia. I'm a professor of management at Kosminski University, but I'm also a Wikipedia. I'm an activist. I'm currently on the board of trustees of Wikimedia Foundation. So I just want to emphasize that the views that I'm expressing here are mine and mine only. I'm not acting on behalf of the Wikimedia Foundation. However, I have thoughts, and many of you must have seen Wikipedia. It's this wonderful website. I'm sure you've seen it once or twice, or at least heard about it, right? I'm just kidding. For real, Wikipedia is the fifth most popular website in the world. And the thing is, if you think about it, it's the largest repository of human knowledge in the history of humankind. It's actually the largest repository of knowledge, as far as we know, in the known multiverse. So if you think about it this way, we also need to realize immediately that it's extremely problematic that academia, the academic world, is not appreciating it so much as it should be. When I started my academic career, and when I was going for tenure, many of my colleagues, senior colleagues, were asking me, "Why are you dealing with this nonsense? This is trivial. This is stuff, this is stuff for kids." They didn't really consider Wikipedia to be a serious business, and it struck me really much. Especially since, as you probably know, or you might have heard, as early as in 2005, there was a Nature journal study comparing Wikipedia to the Britannica, and it showed that actually Wikipedia is going head to head. The number of errors in both of these encyclopedias was on par. Since then, over the last 15 years, Wikipedia has grown 50-fold or more, and the Britannica, well, as you all know, is no longer with us, but the problem remains. Academics do not appreciate Wikipedia, do not involve with Wikipedia. It's pretty much like with something you want to be ashamed of. Everybody's doing it, but you do not want to admit it publicly. Well, the landscape is changing, of course, and I'm very happy to know, for example, that the American Psychological Association and American Sociological Association and many other really highly prestigious professional associations are supporting Wikipedia, but nevertheless, many professors do not see it as valuable. And I'm trying to think what the real problem is. One is possibly plagiarism. Plagiarism comes from Wikipedia to student essays. But hardly should Wikipedia be blamed for that, right? I mean, it's the source. It's a good source, apparently, according at least to students, that students copy. Wikipedia is actually very strict about copyright. In fact, it's much stricter than many commercial publishers all the time. For example, we publish pictures on Commons. Commons is our Wikimedia photo repository and media repository. We publish photos there. The only thing we want from commercial publishers who want to reuse it is to use the proper attribution, because it's Creative Commons license. And they cannot do even that. They take our content, publish without proper attribution. Wikipedia, on the other hand, is extremely strict about taking content in. Everything you have to add has to rely on reliable sources, on very verifiable information, and stuff is very often actually checked against plagiarism. So the argument about plagiarism, in my view, does not really stand. There are other things that professors do not like about Wikipedia, and one of them, obviously, is that Wikipedia, according to them, is not reliable. And I respectfully disagree. If we, as scholars, as scientists, are to make claims about the reality, these claims should be actually science-driven. It should be based in research. And all research that I know shows that Wikipedia is actually pretty good, pretty much on par in some areas to the most professional resource you can find. There's quite a number of studies, and as you can imagine, with 6 billion articles on English Wikipedia alone, it's very difficult to even evaluate the quality of content. But there are studies that focus, for example, on psychology articles or medical articles or something else. And within these very tiny studies, Wikipedia is enormously great. It's really, really well developed. I see that Leonard is asking a very good question in chat. And the question is, what is the approach to localization, especially considering the great disbalance between a few dominating languages and many with only a fraction of the content available? And I think it is a very good question. Honestly, I can tell you the top 10 Wikipedias in terms of the number of articles or the overall content will very likely be the dominant languages, the large populations. And we have more than 300 Wikipedias worldwide. We also have other projects in Wikimedia. So the question is, how can we counterbalance this domination? Should we, for example, create, it sounds wonderful on the surface, but if you think about it deeper, it would actually flood the local community with the number of articles they will not be able to handle. They will not be able to curate 6 billion articles translated into their own language. So I don't think it is the answer. However, on the other hand, our mission as Wikimedia Foundation, our mission as Wikipedians is to make every single human being in the world be able to contribute and use free knowledge from our repositories. So from this point of view, from the reader point of view, it could make some sense. There's no easy answer here. I think one thing we need to remember is that Wikipedia is both for readers and for creators. Wikipedia, the act of creating Wikipedia is extremely important. And one thing I wanted to say about the uneasy relations between Wikipedia and academia is that we often forget that the professors, since the very Middle Ages, since the medieval system was created, were the ones who were empowered to create knowledge, to distribute knowledge. So are you surprised that professors are really unhappy about the fact that some crowdsourced, a bunch of nobodies, as some people call us, create something that is actually good, that is much more readable, much more popular than anything any scholar has ever written? The imbalance between knowledge and power is very clearly affecting the outcome here. But I want to say that to conclude this relation, I think we need to realize also that professors should embrace Wikipedia. Wikipedia is actually really good for academia. If you think about writing a Wikipedia article, this is the perfect example of an academic assignment. You need to find good sources. You need to be able to select them. You need to be able to properly quote them. You need to be able to decide what is important and what isn't, to synthesize information, to say one scholar says this, the other scholar says that. This is the essence of the academic exercise. This is precisely what the scholars should do. But there are benefits to doing that, not just the noble ones. The non-noble ones, but still good, are the fact that this work will be very often criticized and corrected and checked for plagiarism by Wikipedians. You tell students to write Wikipedia articles, half of your job will be done for you. I would say it's a win-win situation. It's a wonderful thing, but there's something else. And I think something that resonates very well with people from all around the world. I think there is a moral obligation for professors to embrace Wikipedia. And this moral obligation goes like this. You are the ones, and I'm talking to professors, you are the ones who have access to knowledge. You're in the top, maybe not even 1%, top promile of knowledge access. And you have students who are also extremely privileged. They have access to libraries. They are studying. They do not have to work at the time, or at least they have time to study and work. And you have also time budgeted for their homeworks and their essays that will go to shredder after being graded. How on earth do you think it's moral not to make them create something that everybody on this planet can use, that will help people without access to free knowledge, that will help people who have no other means of accessing this knowledge at all? I believe strongly in this principle. I think all professors should do it. And actually, even when I look at the audience right here and now, you should do it too. Even if you do not have students, contribute to Wikipedia. And every donation is about $30 per year. But I strongly encourage you, do not give us money, give us your knowledge. Everybody has something to share. This is partly to address the question from Leonard, or comment from Leonard. If you want the dominant languages not to be dominant, do your share. Make space for the less heard voices. Make sure you appreciate diversity. Make sure that the voices that are traditionally stifled are not stifled by your consent, and help them shine, help them come forward. I think it's really a shame that even on English Wikipedia, we have such a big domination of Western English variation rather than many other variations of English. We need to balance this. And there are many programs on Wikipedia by Wikipedia Foundation that are addressing this problem. But here and now, I can tell you, do your share, contribute to Wikipedia one way or another. And I see I've exceeded my limit by a minute. So let's go to the questions and comments.
Thank you so much, Darius. That was actually very engaging. And as a person who's working in the research community and academia myself, I think what you mentioned, all the points you mentioned were very, very important, very specific. Okay, so we have one question which is also based on localization. It says, is there any data on centralization or decentralization of contributors? Is the majority of contributors based in the largest cities, according to her assumption, or scattered across the country?
It's a good question. And honestly, if we were a major commercial website, we would have perfect knowledge about this to the letter. Wikimedia Foundation cares a lot about privacy of users. So we're not tracking people across edits as much. However, with this question, it's an easy answer. Roughly, for example, in English Wikipedia, half of English Wikipedia editors are coming from non-English language countries. So English Wikipedia especially is a very global, international venue. Regarding other major languages, of course, it's a little more local. Regarding the city divide, I don't remember the exact data, honestly. Maybe Wikimedia Foundation published, it could be available in one of the reports and stats that we're publishing on the website, but I don't remember the division. There's definitely a much stronger division between the Global South and Global North. The Global North countries are predominantly contributing to Wikipedia growth, and I think it's detrimental. Overall, the fact that some voices are not heard as much results in a loss for everybody. It's basically less comprehensive, less complex knowledge repository.
Thank you so much for answering the question. Are there any more questions? You can place them in the chat. Actually, I have a question for you. So it's around, so I have two questions, in fact, so I think I will take the second one first. So how do we know if someone has made a page about somebody else or somebody else's organization? And how do the stakeholders get to know about this? What are the policies, or how does Wikipedia work around issues like this?
Just to specify, are you asking me how to check if somebody has not created a specific Wikipedia page on some topic?
Yeah, if somebody has generated data or content for somebody else without, for example, somebody generated content about me without me knowing, or about Youth IGF India, for example, and has created a page. So how do we get to know about that?
I would suggest look yourself up on Wikipedia and you will know. That's the easiest way. But I want to separate two issues. One is what content is encyclopedic, and the other is whether a person or an entity should have anything to say about being covered on Wikipedia. And I think if we have very clear criteria of who is notable to be included into Wikipedia, this person should have nothing to say about it, just as much as you have nothing to say about being covered in a historic book, in a textbook. If you're famous, sorry, it's not your decision anymore. But Wikipedia relies on verifiable sources. So if media, like published media and textbooks and journals, cover you as a person, Wikipedia is only reflecting that. So if your problem is that you're being covered, you should take your business to those who covered you first.
Right. Thank you so much. Are there any questions from our participants today? Yes.
I see.
So Lily has a question. She says, maybe a basic question, but why can't an individual create their own Wikipedia page, or am I mistaken?
That's a very good question, actually. And you'd be surprised, but many people are asking it all the time. And I can tell you, it differs from Wikipedia to Wikipedia. The rules are different because different language projects have different rules. And it's wonderful. It's local communities that decide about the rules. On English Wikipedia currently, you're not supposed to create a web page about yourself because of the inevitable conflict of interest as we see it. So I wouldn't say it's inevitable, but it's very difficult for you to write objectively about yourself. Of course, you can follow the whole protocol, you can add sources and whatnot, but down to business, you will not likely be very critical about yourself as a person. So these are the reasons why on English Wikipedia it's not allowed. However, on some other Wikipedias, it is. And the reasoning behind it is just as logical. And it says, as long as you follow the rules, you're using a neutral language, you're adding proper verifiable sources, the argument should fall or stand on its own. It's not about the author, it's about the outcome. So it depends. Emilia, I see you have a question too.
Yes, thank you. If I could ask it loud, my name is Emilia and I am from IGF Poland that Maciej has mentioned at the beginning. So my question is because you said that writing a Wikipedia journal or Wikipedia page is a good training to writing scientist articles. And my question is, because when you write articles for example, some scientific journals, most students or professors, they gather some points for it, for scholarships or other fundings. And I don't know if Wikipedia has this kind of profits you can get from it, and I am just curious if there is any way there's any way that will be a system that also or is there a system already that could encourage people to engage more, to write these journals, to get some scientific recognition from it? And
that's a very good question. Basically, the question is, can you put Wikipedia article writing on your CV? But you can put it on your CV, but I'm not aware of any university that would actually genuinely recognize Wikipedia article writing as a scientific academic contribution, which is a shame too. I think if somebody made, let's say, wrote 500 articles on Wikipedia that are actually used, that are useful, this should be worth probably more than writing some obscure article that nobody really cares about. But the problem with academia is much deeper. Essentially, academia has fossilized the pattern, the ladder of career, and that requires very certain language, very certain contributions. And writing an academic article has to satisfy certain criteria, including a criterion of a novel contribution. On Wikipedia, we don't accept novel contributions. We only care about stuff that has already been published. In academia, we only care about the stuff that is actually new. And I know that's not really always new, but this is the objective: to contribute, to create new knowledge. On Wikipedia is to cover what the new knowledge is being developed. So for that reason, mainly, academia does not really recognize Wikipedia article writing. I see there's a question about the procedure of deleting information on a profile or removing the information about a person and the right to be forgotten. Well, as I said, Wikipedia only covers stuff that was covered in existing media. If you want to delete some information, the first step would be addressing the media that covered you, retracting it from there. There will be absolutely no problem with deleting it on Wikipedia if the source does not exist anymore, especially because of the GDPR. However, as a person who is notable, that has been covered by major media, major journals, major presses, you probably should not be assuming that Wikipedia only will be deleting your information if this information is kept everywhere else. Because Wikipedia only refers to existing sources and the existing coverage. I see a question from Leonard. Depending on the field of articles, I often find the complexity of articles varying greatly. Absolutely, that's true. Quality on Wikipedia is varied. And it's not only language dependent. I actually wrote an article about it a while back. We compared 8 most popular Wikipedia languages and the quality standards between them. The thing is, quality varies, that's true. If you see an article that's a featured article or a so-called good article, you can be really sure the quality is very high. But if sometimes you will see an article that is very short or there is not written in a very good language and it's just being developed. Wikipedia is using a continuous publishing model. And sometimes you will encounter an article that is not as great as it will be in a year or two. So we need to accept that. And again, Wikipedia is an excellent resource of covered links, covered original sources that you can follow. Very often it's really good articles, but sometimes these are just articles that serve as the beginning of your journey to read the information. And I don't think it's even that dependent on the field. Leonard is saying that it's formal sciences, natural sciences, and that it's not as easy accessible, and all others are very accessible. I don't know about it. I don't think if there's a clear pattern there. But for sure, if you think about it, if you want to write a good article about a very hardcore subject in science, you often have to be an expert in it. So it is possible that you will not write it as for a very lay person. Madeline has another question. What improvements can Wikipedia make to make it more efficient for academic research and citation? Well, I would say it's actually quite efficient. I mean, on Wikipedia, it's very easy to cite academic research. We have a special tool for that. And citing Wikipedia in academic papers is also very easy. I mean, you just refer to a web page, you say when you accessed it. On Wikipedia, you have a very specific track record of who edited what. So it's extremely easy also to even link to a specific version of the article that you're referring. Unlike on many other websites, when you just say, yeah, I saw this website on this day. On Wikipedia, you can say, I used this specific version of the article, and you can refer to it. So I don't think there is a problem there. Any other comments or questions, insults?
If I can add one question, we have just a few minutes. do you think, because this is the Internet Governance Forum, and governance always it's close to the regulations and you know, things like that. Do you think that that Wikipedia need some kind of new regulations, or you know, just
Absolutely. We need a law previous. We need a freedom of speech. It's extremely important for us to exist in a legal environment that provides freedom of speech. We actually do need good copyright law. It's essential that we can use it. One of the things that I think we as free knowledge activists are really frustrated with is the fact that copyright law is very often geared towards the corporations. The fact that it's so much supportive of extremely long copyright that does not actually serve the author anymore, but often will serve and perpetuate the corporate rights. But this, again, this is my personal view. I think this is something that we have to deal with. In my own research, I did a study of Harvard lawyers, and in a study of Harvard lawyers, it turns out that they are quite okay with piracy. So in my view, a social change has happened, and we do not know what to do with the copyright to keep it fair, both to the authors and the publishers and the actual users. This conversation is still ahead of us. And as a side effect, free knowledge repositories are unfortunately sometimes harmed. So this is something we need to be aware of.
Okay. Thank you very much for the answer. I don't see any questions. Thank you, Dariusz, for the very inspiring lecture. I'm sure that in Katowice next year we'll still discussing this issue, not only about Wikipedia, just the data. Data is always part of the IGF, and always was, and it will be in the future. Thank you all participants for your very, very active voice, and it was a pleasure to be with you. And thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Sounds like a plan. And remember, either donate or edit.
Thank you very much, Dariusz. Maciek Ihita, great moderation. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Stay safe.